Hey everybody, this is Cyborg. Once again, I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel. You guys have been subscribing and liking the videos and commenting. I love that. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do so because today we are going to be talking about the top 5 3D era characters that still have yet to return. So that excludes Kenshi, Quan Chi, Shinnok, Bo' Rai Cho, and Tanya. They will not be on the list. They've already returned. Today we're talking about the ones that still need to return, and we're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat 11. Let's get to the list. Number 5. Debuting in Mortal Kombat 4, Reiko spotted in the game was originally supposed to be Noob Saibot, but it was decided that there were already too many ninja types in the franchise at that point, thus they tweaked the design into the character we know now as Reiko. Reiko is a cold and calculating man known for his brutality. He's a general in Shao Kahn's army and also has several similarities to Shao Kahn. At one point, some fans even theorized that he may even be Shao Kahn himself due to his Mortal Kombat 4 ending on home consoles. But this was later debunked by the games and writers themselves, even joking that Reiko simply likes to wear Kahn's helmet. Honestly, I don't blame him. That helmet's pretty badass. Reiko has shown over time that he has aspirations to become the ruler of Outworld and would stop at nothing to make this happen. We see him in the MKX comic working with Havik in secret to accomplish his goal of obtaining the throne of Outworld. Reiko begins to hunt down the Kamidogo daggers at Havik's request. This all comes to a head when Reiko does exactly what Havik requests. His lust for power begins to consume him. After devouring 100 prisoners in a single blast, he demands more from Havik, even attacking Havik out of frustration and hunger, but he then finds himself in excruciating pain that cannot be quenched. Reiko ends up tearing his own body apart as it is revealed Havik was merely using him this entire time as a vessel, and Reiko was just a pawn in his games. He is then killed by Havik. Now, Reiko may have died in the comics, but the MKX comics have not been proven to be 100% canon as of yet, as there are already instances that do not coincide with the games. That said, with this being Mortal Kombat, death is rarely, if ever, permanent for a character, so if there's a desire to see the character in the game, anything is possible. Reiko being a battle strategist with a great look, I'd hate to see this character never brought into the current games, left behind as a relic of the 3D era. Come on. Number 4. Li Mei was first introduced in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance and returned for Deception and Armageddon. Her story is that of tragedy and slavery, a story that many can relate to as her home was threatened, her people enslaved, all for the means of Shang Tsung wanting to construct, what else? A palace fortress. However, she refused to be a victim, rebelling against the invaders and even attacked Kano himself. Quan Chi saw this warrior spirit within her, and he offered to free her people under one condition: she must win the Deadly Alliance tournament. If she did not win, however, she would serve the Alliance and her people would remain slaves for eternity. Unfortunately, to no surprise, had she won or not, her fate was already sealed. She realized she was a naive fool for thinking otherwise. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi attempted to transplant her soul into the last remaining corpse of Anaga's ancient army, but Bo' Rai Cho luckily intervened. Bo' Rai Cho prevented her from becoming a servant of evil and brought her back to health. Li Mei was forever in his debt. Through this, Li Mei is trained by Master Bo' Rai Cho himself, and she feels a duty to defend Outworld like never before. In the current timeline, Li Mei had led her people to Earthrealm to seek asylum when faced with certain death had they stayed. This was due to Mileena's possession of Shinnok's amulet, leveling entire villages with its power. Li Mei is questioned by Sonya, Johnny, and Raiden, and she makes mention of a man resembling Kano, which leads to his capture and defeat. With Li Mei's established origins in Outworld and her ties to Bo' Rai Cho, with Dark Raiden's potential attempt to take over Outworld, we hope Li Mei will once again rebel in hopes to preserve Outworld from Dark Raiden's forces. However, as an informant to Sonya and Johnny, and her people currently located in Earthrealm, things might take a different turn for Li Mei if she returns. With an awesome design and a great backstory, we hope a cameo in MKX's story is not Li Mei's only role in the current story being told. Number 3. Frost was introduced in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. At first glance, she of course looks like a female version of Sub-Zero. That's what we were all thinking at the time. Well, we would learn that she's got quite the personality of her own, as she is Sub-Zero's overly ambitious, in an ironic way hot-headed, apprentice. While dedicated to fighting, her learning is overshadowed by her own arrogance and hostility to those that she feels are greater than her, which includes her master Sub-Zero. Her path follows that of tragedy, brought on by herself mainly, as she is unable to overcome her own arrogance and hostility, resulting in her attempting to steal Sub-Zero's Dragon Medallion to increase her own power. Big mistake. This ends with her being frozen by the medallion, as it is too much for her to control. She later awakens to find herself in a tomb surrounded by frozen corpses. The medallion gone, she gathers Sub-Zero must have left her here to die. Not learning from her mistakes, she heads to the Lin Kuei Temple to exact revenge on Sub-Zero. She ends up slaughtering many Lin Kuei warriors while waiting for Sub-Zero to return to the temple, and upon his return, she was once again defeated and frozen, this time by Sub-Zero, to which he places her body in the chamber of the fallen Lin Kuei, sealing it shut. In the Mortal Kombat X comics, we see Frost as an MMA fighter in a deathmatch fight club of sorts. Raiden ends up finding Frost and makes her aware of a tournament being held by a Lin Kuei under Sub-Zero Kuai Liang. Frost once again shows a bit of overconfidence and ambition when she meets Sub-Zero for the first time at the Lin Kuei Temple. In Mortal Kombat X, we see Frost observing the tea party between Sub-Zero and Scorpion in their attempts to make peace. Frost interrupts by attacking Scorpion, claiming there will be no peace, only to quickly be knocked out by Scorpion. This leads to Scorpion and Sub-Zero getting into a fight themselves, which Frost once again tries attacking Scorpion, only to be met by a familiar fate, being frozen by Sub-Zero. Thankfully, it does not appear that Frost is dead, as Sub-Zero promises to deal with her, and we have seen these circumstances before. We'd love to see Frost return as a playable character, as she hopefully will grow beyond her own arrogance, but even if not, it's part of her charm, and her design and gameplay leave a lot of potential on the table. For one, there's a lot of ways you can represent cryomancy, and she's always had a bit of a different take on how she operates compared to Sub-Zero. Here's hoping we see the original Elsa the Ice Queen return to the playable roster. I don't want to let her go. Number 2. First introduced in Mortal Kombat mythology's Sub-Zero, Fujin made his actual debut in the main series in Mortal Kombat 4 as a playable fighter. Along with Raiden, Fujin is another character to have originated from Japanese religion based on the Shinto god of wind with the same name. Fujin joins Raiden as one of the last surviving gods on Earth. Once the Earthrealm warriors were victorious and Shinnok was trapped in the Netherrealm, Fujin was given a new task by the Elder Gods. Raiden would be ascending to the pantheon of Elder Gods, and Fujin was chosen by Raiden to take his place as the new protector of Earthrealm. Fast forwarding to Deception and Armageddon, Fujin became aware of the change in Raiden's personality. It was clear to him that Raiden had grown to be ruthless. After Raiden reanimated Liu Kang's corpse, which led to the death of many innocents, Fujin allied with Kung Lao in hopes to save both Raiden and Liu Kang. Fujin would go on to also attempt to stop Taven in his quest, but it was met with defeat. Fujin then later joined the Forces of Light in the battle at the Pyramid, presumed to have met his demise with the other combatants. In the MKX comics, Fujin is not happy with Raiden's use of the Kamidogu daggers. He plays a much more sensible role, the voice of reason, to offset Raiden's desperation to do what it takes to find the demon currently loose in Earthrealm. After Fujin comes back from a quest Raiden sent him on, Fujin starts to imply Raiden is corrupted. Raiden is unable to enter the Jinsei, which further causes concern from Fujin. A possessed Raiden ends up attacking Fujin, escaping with the Kamidogu, but Fujin is saved by Takeda and taken to the Jinsei for healing. Takeda demands they go after Raiden to save those that will die as a result, but Fujin takes responsibility for the Jinsei and wants to protect life on Earth as a whole. He does offer to help Takeda by means of giving him the Mask of the Shirai Ryu and his powerful serrated whips, as well as some advice, so there is that at least. In Mortal Kombat X, Fujin is seen fighting alongside Raiden to combat Shinnok, Quan Chi, and the Revenants. They both end up being saved from getting sealed into Shinnok's amulet by Johnny, Sonya, and Kenshi. Unfortunately though, even with Fujin's decent-sized fan following and growing support, this was it for Fujin in Mortal Kombat X. Looking ahead to Mortal Kombat 11, one hopes to finally see Fujin's return to a playable roster, assume the role of Protector of Earthrealm in Raiden's place, and potentially even stop the threat of Raiden Gone Dark. Before we get to number 1, I have a couple of honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is Havik, the Cleric of Chaos. He made his debut in Mortal Kombat Deception. He has a unique design and a unique approach to gameplay, often bending, contorting, and twisting his body in painful ways to assault or even taunt his opponents. He recently caused a lot of chaos in the MKX comic, and was seen in MK9's Noob ending as a potential Deadly Alliance pairing. I'd certainly love to see Havik and all his chaotic antics come back into play. The second honorable mention is Ashra. She also made her debut in Mortal Kombat Deception. She's dressed in all white and gold, she has an elegant, old-fashioned, attractive young female appearance, but is actually a demon from the Netherrealm. Although she is a demon herself, she takes on the role of a demon hunter. She does this with her Chris Sword, a blessed holy artifact. For each denizen of the Netherrealm she defeats, it purifies her, and brings her that much closer to her own freedom. A very unique take on a character, and I'd love to see her return to purify her soul. Number 1. Sareena first appeared in Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero and debuted in the main fighting game series in Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition, or Armageddon if we're discounting the handhelds, but more on that later. First, like Ashra, Sareena is from the Netherrealm. She works as an assassin for Quan Chi, but betrays him to help Sub-Zero Bi-Han escape the Netherrealm, appearing to die by the hands of Shinnok as this is happening. However, this is not the case. The attack from Shinnok merely destroyed her human form, and her essence was banished to the 5th plane of the Netherrealm for her betrayal, which she would suffer for years. In a moment of luck, she discovered a portal left by Quan Chi and Scorpion's escape from the Netherrealm, which takes her to Outworld. Within Outworld, she discovers a way to absorb the energy of the realm to restore her human form. Sareena goes on to encounter Sub-Zero Kual Yang. Kual Yang feels a debt to her for helping his brother escape years prior, so he grants her sanctuary within the Lin Kuei Temple on Earthrealm. Sareena pledges her loyalty to the clan. Through their journey into the Netherrealm, she loses control of her human form and later is corrupted by Quan Chi to serve him once more, which would last until Taven spares her and allows her to flee Quan Chi's services again. In Mortal Kombat X, we see a similar story for Sareena as she assists Jax, Kenshi, and the other special forces in their mission to infiltrate Quan Chi's fortress. During this quest, she tries to free Revenant Katana from corruption much like she has in the past, but it is unsuccessful and she is knocked out for her troubles, but she is then saved by Jax. Sareena tends to the wounds of the soldiers and warns Jax about going in alone, but he continues on anyways. The reason Sareena is our number 1 choice is because unlike all the other characters mentioned thus far, she suffered the always the bridesmaid, never the bride fate throughout the series. Other than Armageddon, which featured all characters playable in the series thus far, she was only ever in a port of Deadly Alliance on Game Boy Advance. She has yet to be featured as a playable character in a standalone main series title. It's a shame because she's got a great story, has a connection with several prominent characters in the series, and a concept just waiting to be fleshed out in depth. We're hoping that she isn't banished to an eternity of cameos and is featured on the Mortal Kombat 11 playable roster. Wow, is that a hard list to put together. There are several characters still left on the table that we'd still love to see put in the game, but those were our top 5 as well as a couple honorable mentions. So if there's a character we left out or a character you agreed with that you're glad made the list, make sure to comment below, let us know. Your guys' support has been tremendous. Keep interacting with us, keep subscribing if you're new to us, and like the video. I love you guys. Take care. I will see you soon.